Premium quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. Sound good? If so, check out the sponsor of today's video, jerseyfifa.com. You can see that I've sent you some shirts and they really are top quality, so make sure to click the link in the description to go find a shirt for yourself or perhaps as a gift for someone else. And you can now use code JerseyFIFA at checkout for 10% off your order. That's code JerseyFIFA at checkout for 10% off your order. I really do recommend their products, so go take a look. Now let's get into the analysis. So if you've been watching videos on the channel recently, then you would have seen me covering Barcelona's transformation under Xavi so far. But despite all of their progress, this transformation and the squad is still far from being finished. And if you've been listening to Fabrizio Romano in recent weeks, he seems to agree. Barcelona being linked with several different moves for a few different players in the upcoming transfer window in this summer. So in today's video, I'm going to be going through 3 different players that I think Barcelona should be targeting this summer to really take their team to the next level. But first, what does Xavi want from his side? So since Xavi has come into the club, he has placed a large emphasis on play in possession, which as a result has meant that there is a big demand for the centre-backs to be able to play their way out from the back in their own defensive third. Either side of them, Xavi has looked to use versatile fullbacks, which are able to get forward to provide the width for the attack, whilst also having the ability to play in a more reserved role, moving into an inverted position in the midfield. In front of them, Xavi has been opting for a midfield 3, and this trio in the middle third really is vital to the way that Barcelona play. But to be honest, the 3 players currently in this position are all good enough to stay in the first team. Then finally we have the front 3, where again versatility and variety is needed, with the wingers sometimes coming inside, although actually more often than not the wingers are asked to stay extremely wide to hold the width. So with all of that being said, where do Barcelona need to upgrade the team? Well, for me personally, I think a new left-sided centre-back is required, as well as a right-back, and then finally a new right-winger for the attack. So the first position that we'll look at is centre-back, and personally I do think PK is still good enough, but it might be time to finally replace him after over a decade in the first team, so I think a younger centre-back should be brought into the club. Whatever centre-back Barcelona choose to sign, I think the important thing is that the player has a very similar profile to PK, in terms of his physical attributes, as well as things like his passing and his defensive style in general. So to find a similar player, we'll take a quick look at some FBref reports with PK's here on the left hand side, and we can see that particularly on the ball, the FBref report on the right hand side from a completely different player is very similar. So the player boasting these stats is Chelsea and Denmark centre-back Andreas Christensen, and personally I think he would be the player that I was looking to bring into the club, and again there have been talks linking this exact move. One of the best things about this move is that Christensen will be out of contract in the summer, which means that Barcelona could make the move without having to pay Chelsea a single penny, although of course there are things like wages etc. As I was saying earlier, one of the reasons that I think Christensen would be a good option is because of his ability on the ball, and playing for a Chelsea side that dominate possession means that he would fit in at this Barcelona team quite easily. As a result of this, Christensen is also very capable when it comes to carrying the ball forwards as well, rather than just looking to pass, and again this would just give Xavi's side another way to progress the ball through the press, which is something that they need. At just 25 years old, Christensen still has plenty of years at the top level, meaning that if Xavi wanted to, he could really develop a long-term partnership between Christensen and Araujo to play together for the next decade or so. As I was saying earlier, if you have been following the recent transfer news from numerous sources, including Fabrizio Romano, it does look like this move is very possible, and personally, I think it would be good business for Barcelona. The next player in a team that I think needs replacing is Dani Alves, and again it's more down to an age thing rather than lacking quality, because to be fair, since he's come in, he's done a good job, but it is time for Barcelona to find a replacement. I was saying earlier that Xavi likes his fullbacks to be versatile and well balanced, and this FBref report is exactly that, with numerous stats in the 80th percentile or higher, and you genuinely can't find a better report at the moment. If you didn't notice, the player that I was talking about was Mazraoui, and again those that watch the channel on a regular basis will know just how highly I rate this player, and for me, almost every club should be looking to bring him in. One of the reasons that Mazraoui has improved so much is thanks to his work with Erik ten Hag, which has turned him into an extremely versatile footballer, who is very capable on the ball whilst also being very tactically astute. One of the reasons that Mazraoui would be perfect for Barcelona is because of his ability to move into more central areas, and he's up there with the best in Europe when it comes to playing in this sort of inverted role in the middle third. Having moved into this central area, Mazraoui is an extremely competent passer of the ball, and he actually ranks in the 96th percentile for progressive passes, which would really make him perfect for this Xavi fullback role. As well as being able to pass the ball forward quickly, Mazraoui is also extremely comfortable taking a little bit more time on the ball, and there aren't many fullbacks in the world that are more technically gifted. As well as having the ability to sit in this deep narrow position to pass the ball, Mazraoui also has variety in his game, because he also loves to take the opportunity to attack open space and bomb forward down the right hand side. Again, Mazraoui is an absolute must for any club in the world that needs a right back, and the deal is made even sweeter by the fact that he is out of contract this summer, which would make the move even more affordable for Barcelona. I honestly could sit and talk about Mazraoui all day, but we do have to move on to the next position that Barcelona need to sign this summer, although don't worry, we will come back to Mazraoui in just a few minutes time. As I was saying at the start of the video, Xavi likes his wingers to really hold the width in the final third, and Dembele has done a good job in the second half of the season, although unfortunately it does look like he'll be leaving the club in the summer. So with that in mind, we need to find a winger that could come into this Barcelona team and hold the width on the right, whilst also having the ability to drift into more central areas, and this heat map looks pretty perfect for that role to me. This heat map actually belongs to Brazil and Leeds winger Rafinha. Again, Rafinha is one of my favourite players in Europe and in the Premier League right now, but let's take a look at why he would be such a good fit for this position. So with this demand of playing wide on the right, Barcelona need a winger who can provide that little bit of magic out wide to isolate a defender in a 1 versus 1 before beating them, and this really is Rafinha's best quality at the moment. Unlike some, Rafinha combines this exciting play with pretty good final product, and is very capable of crossing from out wide or taking on the responsibility to carry the ball inside before then looking to fire shots in towards goal. Crucially, Rafinha also has plenty to offer off the ball as well, and having played under Bielsa and Marsch, he is more than happy to put in a defensive shift, pressing high up the pitch to try and help his side win the ball back. Again, I could talk about Rafinha's strengths a lot more, but I do just want to cover one negative quickly, and that is the fact that Rafinha needs to be tactically refined, because at times he can rush things a little bit, which does have a negative impact on the team. Now, a lot of this has come from his manager, and under Bielsa in particular, where the aim is to get the ball forward as quickly as possible. But having followed Xavi's work so far, I'm confident that Xavi would be able to refine this from Rafinha. If Xavi is able to do this, then Rafinha could prove to be a real top quality player on the right hand side of the Barcelona attack, thanks to his ability to go either way, and this has the potential for something really special for Barcelona. One of the reasons that I think this lineup has so much potential is because Mazraoui also has the ability to go inside or outside, so he'll be able to take advantage of Rafinha moving inside to really bomb forward into the final third. If we now stop to put this together, Barcelona would now have 2 players down this side who can play inside or outside, and this is what makes it so promising, because a nightmare for any defence in the world is a team that attacks with variation. Again, we know that this is something that Xavi wants from his side in this 4-3-3 formation, and we've already seen it on the left hand side between Alba and Torres, with Alba sometimes tucking in, whilst also sometimes really looking to attack. Frenkie de Jong and Pedri are also asked to play with this variation in the centre of the pitch, and if Xavi is able to create something similar on the right with these new signings, then this Barca team can really go to the next level. No matter who is brought into the club, I do think that de Jong and Pedri will keep their place in the midfield, although Busquets' position may be at risk with Kessie coming into the club to potentially provide a little bit of competition in this area. But I just think that if you can get Pedri and de Jong to link up with all of these technically gifted wide players, then we could be looking at the next generation of a really top Barcelona team that can challenge in the Champions League. Probably the best thing about these signings from Xavi's point of view is that he could bring 3 or 4 new players into the club while still playing in the exact same way, continuing to try and build possession in what is essentially a 2-3-5 shape. The only real change we tend to see from Xavi's tactics is when he uses different players through the middle up front, with Aubameyang often acting as a traditional number 9 in the box, which then as a result allows the wingers to play much wider. However, when Memphis comes into the side, the attack has a slightly different dynamic, with Memphis looking to drop deep to get the ball, which then means the wingers are able to come inside, with the fullbacks pushing much higher out wide. This is of course something that we've seen Xavi doing already this season, and in such a short amount of time we can see the patterns of play that he is beginning to develop, and it's quite impressive to see this evidence so early on. Signings like Rafinha and Mazraoui really will add to this, just because they are so versatile, and if these signings were to happen, then I would be really excited to see what Xavi can develop moving on into next season with this Barcelona team. Now, these may not be the big names that some Barcelona fans want, but Barcelona are facing financial difficulties, so it's important that they are able to bring these cheaper players into the club for Xavi to then develop and really turn into stars. And if Barcelona can get this summer transfer window right, then I genuinely think that we could see them competing much more next season. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts on who you think they should bring into the club and where they might challenge next year. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.